Now let's turn back to Cyprus on the back of today's deal. We're also watching, of course, the euro this morning. The single currency has now given up its gains. Joining us now to look at this in more detail is Marshall Gittler. He's head of global FX strategy at Iron FX and joins us live now from Limassol in Cyprus. First of all, give me a sense, Marshall, on what it's like being on the ground. What are your clients telling you? Are you concerned that there will be a bank run when banks reopen? What's it like living in Cyprus at the moment?
Well, it's a cash-only society right now, and everybody's, including me, just goes to the cash machine every day, takes out as much money as you can. Personally, I've got a family in Switzerland, and my problem in life is how do I get money back to my family in Switzerland? And I'm just a small investor. Imagine you're trying to run a company here. It's very difficult. I think they would have had a lot better, been a lot better off just accepting the deal that was offered at first. They really shot themselves in the foot by not accepting that one.
Marshall, is a euro in Cyprus today worth less than a euro in Germany?
Well, insofar as it's a restricted euro, yes. These euros are locked up. You don't have free use of them. Therefore, they should trade at a discount. In theory, that means it's basically another currency. Of course, eventually these restrictions will be undone, and they should go back to free flow. But right now, yes, it does seem to be that we've got our own independent currency. It looks the same as a euro, but it's not treated the same as a euro.
And what do you think the long-term implications of that ultimately are? Given the fact that Cyprus is now living in a different paradigm to the rest of the single currency zone, do you think that'll make it more or less likely that Cypriots will be willing to accept what is about to be meted out in the form of financial repression?
Well, I don't think people here have much of a choice. This is their home. The question is whether foreign businesses located here will continue to accept this. That's the real question troubling everyone here. As you've heard from your previous guests, a lot of companies are preparing to move elsewhere or considering moving elsewhere. I think that could have very bad effects on this Cypriot economy. It's it's not a pretty picture here because of the bungling of this whole episode, I think.
And Marshall, what are you hearing on the ground in terms of what the ECB can do to actually keep the Cypriot economy alive? You know, what's the chatter on your trading floor?
Well, they're going to supply some money for the bailout, but the bailout can't be used to restructure the banks, which is different from what happened with Greece and the other countries where the EU did supply money to restructure the banks. And the problem is, if the country falls into depression, then they'll just need more money and another round of restructuring and another round of rescue. And what happens then? If this is the country that's small enough that the EU can afford to play tough with them, and so where do they go? What do they do? It's they just look forward to another round of repression, and nothing they can do against them. I think this is the country where the EU can afford to hold the line, unfortunately.
Is your expectations that the capital controls will be a short-lived measure, or do you think it's going to be something that Cyprus is going to have to live with in the medium term?
I think it will have to be relatively short-term. I mean, basically, it's illegal under EU law. So to put it on for long-term would first off be such a blatant contradiction. Well, legal niceties don't really seem to matter very much anymore, but putting that question aside, if they kept them on for a long time, I mean, it would just be the death knell for the banking system, and it would also make the just day-to-day life very difficult. How can this country import things? Where do we get beans from if we can't import them? It would just make life very difficult if you can't transfer money from one part of the country to one part of the Eurozone to another. And as I said, that just means that Cyprus basically would have its own currency, which is an untenable situation as well.
And Marshall, you know, we hear of anecdotal evidence, of course, of people trying to leave the country. Is it the same with your clients? Do you think you'll be able to stay in Cyprus? Will you have to leave?
Oh, no, our business isn't related to Cyprus at all. I mean, we are located here, but our clients are global. Our biggest market is Asia, and our bank accounts are held entirely outside the countries too, as well. We are personally not affected at all by this, except maybe our rent comes down. That's about it. It has no impact on IronFX whatsoever.
Marshall, nevertheless, an interesting time to live through, and thank you for taking the time to talk to us. Marshall Gittler joining us from Cyprus.
Yes,
he is the head of Global FX. Yeah, we are cursed to live in an interesting time.